Welcome to Birds of a Feather. My name is Nathan Stroud. I'm the host of the show. This is episode 8 of Birds of a Feather. It is Friday afternoon, and we're going to be going over the Orioles' loss to the Kansas City Royals. And we got some stuff to talk about, so let's just get right into it. Going over to the Orioles game, and let's just say it was a little bit. It was a little rough. Baltimore, 6 total hits, 2 total runs scored, 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position, 4 left on base. And look, man, I'm just gonna be real. Rough game. Another rough game for the Orioles. The Orioles' record now sits at 3-5 on the year. They have lost 3 straight games. Kind of sound like a record player on repeat right now, basically talking about the past few games with this team. But this was the opening game against the Royals in this series. This is a 3-game series. The Orioles drop game 1. And let's just get into the hitting. So leading off, we have the captain of the team. You've got the leader. You've got the best player on the Orioles making his season debut, as we talked about yesterday. Gunnar Henderson was going to be making his return to the Orioles, which he did today. Gunnar Henderson is back, which is a very big positive, obviously. You know, Gunnar Henderson is the guy around here in Baltimore. But Gunnar Henderson was leading off in his return, which I was a little surprised about. I thought maybe that Brandon Hyde would have had Gunnar maybe hitting in the 3-hole or 4-hole. But Gunnar Henderson was leading off today. And Gunnar went 1 for 4 with the strikeout. Not the worst thing in the world, but this game was kind of a complete disaster from the beginning. Gunnar Henderson 1 for 4, Adley Rutschman 1 for 4, Jordan Westburg goes 0 for 4 with a strikeout. You don't like to see that from Jordan. Obviously, he's been so good all year, but puts up a donut today. Cedric Mullins 1 for 3 with a walk. Tyler O'Neill 1 for 4. Heston Kjerstad 2 for 3, Ryan Mountcastle 0 for 3, and Jackson Holliday 0 for 3. And ironically, Heston Kjerstad actually has the best game today from an Oriole offensively. And it's ironic because of a certain mishap he made today out in left field that we'll get over in just a second. The offense did really nothing. I mean, they scored 2 total runs, 6 total hits throughout the game. Again, they lose the game 8-2. And, I mean, look, this offense, the way that it's built right now, especially with Gunnar Henderson coming back, and I'm not going to sit here and say this is Gunnar Henderson's fault. Obviously, this is his first game back. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's horrible. But the way that this offense is, and with the players that you have on the field, with Gunnar Henderson and Adley and Jordan and Cedric and Ryan O'Hearn and Tyler O'Neill, with guys like that who are extremely talented players, you should not be scoring 2 runs. That's just not what we should be doing. This offense has been in a little bit of a slump the past few days. If you go over and look at their run totals over the past few days, I mean, 0 runs, 4 runs, and 2 runs. So they've scored 6 runs combined in their past 3 games. That's not ideal. That's not great. And, you don't love to see that from the Orioles. This offense is looking very similar to the offense in the second half of last season, where they kind of just were not scoring a lot of runs, and even if the pitching was doing good, they just weren't winning games because it was really home run or bust for them in terms of scoring runs. But this offense has been very disappointing, and again, it's been very up and down, and right now on the roller coaster, we are on the downwards dive of this roller coaster right now. Again, this was the 8th game of the year. There's still a ton of baseball left to play, and it is early. But you do got to look at these games and analyze them and think about them, because at the end of the day, some of these losses that we're getting could affect us later on down the year, where while as we try to make a playoff push, these games will probably matter, especially with the way that the division is looking right now. But obviously, in the first game, they go out there and score 12 runs. Then they score 2. Then they score 9. Then they score 1. Then they score 8. Then they score 0. Then they score 4. Then they score 2. And again, they've lost the past 3 games in a row. They're 3-5 on the year. not ideal at all. The offense was a big problem in this game, but so is the pitching. And let's go over the pitching right now. So Dean Kramer got the start today, his second start of the year. He did get credited the loss. His record officially is now 1-1 on the year. But Dean Kramer, once again, another Orioles starting pitcher who cannot eat innings for them, that cannot go deep in a game for them. Dean Kramer, 4.1 innings, gives up 8 hits, 3 runs, only 2 of them are earned. We'll go over that in just 1 second. He gave up 2 earned runs, 4 innings, 8 hits, no walks, and only 1 strikeout. Obviously, only 1 strikeout is a problem because, again, it's forcing the Royals, and the Royals are putting a bunch of balls in play, which obviously can lead to a bunch of different stuff, like we'll talk about in 1 second. But Dean Kramer gives up the 8 hits in 4 innings, an 88 pitch count through 4.1 innings. Not ideal. His ERA sits at a 6.52 over his first 2 starts, and Dean Kramer coming into the year as the pitcher 3 on this team. It's just not great. It's just not great. But at the same time, I can't sit here and lie on here and say that I don't think that this is necessarily too surprising, because look, again, Mike Elias made the decision over the offseason. He made all the decisions to not be aggressive and not go out and get premier starting pitching. And this is what we're left with, and this is what we're going to have to work with. That's, as a fan of a team, all you can do is sit back, watch your organization make decisions, and you either support the decisions or not, but whatever happens, you support your team, and you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. But going to the rest of the bullpen, Gregory Soto, 1.2 innings, no hits, no runs, no walks, gets a strikeout. Gregory Soto has been pretty solid this year. He actually has a 0 ERA in all of the games that he's played so far with the Orioles this season. He's been doing great. Gregory Soto, very big bright spot for the bullpen. Same thing with Seranthony Dominguez. 1 inning pitched, 0 hits, 0 runs, gives up 1 walk, and also gets 2 strikeouts. He also sits at a 0 ERA. Now, someone who is not sitting at a 0 ERA, someone who is actually quite the opposite of that, Cionel Perez. He struggled a bit last year. In the beginning of last season, he was doing very well. But in the second half of the year last year, Cionel Perez did struggle quite a bit. Whenever he was in the game, especially in a high leverage situation, which he was in a high leverage situation today, because the Orioles game for the most part was close, literally the entire game up until the 8th inning. It was a 1-run game through innings 1 through 7, and then in the 8th inning, Kansas City obviously did their thing. But Cionel Perez pitched the 8th inning. 1 inning pitched, gave up 3 hits, 5 runs, a walk, and had a strikeout. A 37 pitch count in only 1 inning. That is not good. That is not good. Cionel Perez now on the season. He struggled a little bit in the other games that he's played this year as well. But Cionel Perez is sitting at a 19.64 ERA to start the year. And man, you look at that. All you can really do is just laugh. All you can really do is just laugh. It's kind of comical. A 19.64 ERA for someone who is supposed to be one of the premier relievers in this bullpen. It's disappointing, man. It's disappointing. That's the only word that I can really use to describe the Orioles season so far, is disappointing. Obviously, I was saying that they need to stay afloat until Gunnar comes back, and they do that. They were 3-4. It wasn't the worst thing in the world. But again, they've lost 3 straight, and we'll see what happens. Look, this team, again, there's still so much baseball left. The start of the season has been a little disappointing, which is okay. There's been a ton of teams in the past where they have a disappointing start to the year, and then they end up, going into the playoffs, going on a run, and maybe even winning the World Series. I'm looking at the 2019 Nationals, who ended up winning the World Series and started off the year really bad, barely made the playoffs, then ended up going on a crazy run to win the World Series. But the difference between that Nationals team and this Orioles team is the Nationals team actually, had pitching, they had good hitting. This Orioles team, they have talent on offense. Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, Jordan Westbrook, Cedric Mullins. like Ryan O'Hearn, Tyler O'Neill. Like, these guys are talented players. Like Colton Cowser as well. These guys are so talented, and we see how talented they are. But again, one, they're just not scoring runs, and two, the pitching has just been awful for the Orioles. Especially when it comes to the starting pitching, man. It's just a little disappointing, but it's also a little bit expected based on the decisions that the management made to not go out and get a big pitcher. And yeah, again, there's still so many games left this year. I'm not going to sit here and say that the season's over, obviously, but this, again, isn't necessarily the start that we would want to see. And going over, again, Dean Kramer only did give up 2 earned runs today, but he kind of put his team in jeopardy with having to bring in the bullpen early and having to leave the game early and not being able to eat innings. It's a big snowball effect. It piles up and it affects your team later on down the line. But Dean Kramer only gave up 2 runs. One of the runs that he did give up, which it wasn't an earned run, but the first run of the game that scored in the first inning for Kansas City was a routine fly ball out to left field. Heston Kjerstad was under it. He was tracking it well, and then all of a sudden, in the final couple seconds before the ball came down, he lost it, and then it hit the ground, and then Bobby Witt Jr. was able to go in and score a run. So that was after that happened in the first inning, you could kind of tell that things were not going to be great. And then the Orioles went back, took a 2-1 lead, and then in the 4th inning, Kansas City got those 2 runs back. And then in the 5th, 6th, and 7th inning, it was a 1-run game. The Orioles had a chance to tie the game or even take the lead before the game obviously went away from us in the 8th inning. But, I mean, yeah, the Orioles, disappointing start to the year. Tomorrow's game I am super excited about because tomorrow is going to be Tomoyuki Sagano's second start of the year. Obviously, in the first start of the year, he didn't necessarily have the greatest start. He only got through 4 innings, but he had to leave the game with hand cramps. He was out there for the 5th. He had to leave the game with hand cramps. So Tomoyuki Sagano, I'm looking for a big bounce-back game tomorrow for him. Would love to see Tomoyuki go out there and get through at least 5, man. At least 5, maybe 2 runs, maybe 3 runs or less. I don't know. It'd be great to see Tomoyuki Sagano go out there and just play very well. Again, this is a very experienced pitcher. He's one of the most experienced pitchers in all of baseball, to be honest with you. If you look at from a baseball career perspective, Tomoyuki Sagano, obviously a legend in Japan. But I would love to see a big bounce-back game from Tomoyuki Sagano. I think we're all rooting for him. He was the guy that I was most interested in seeing how he plays for the Orioles because, again, I still believe that he can be a vital part of this pitching rotation. If he can start becoming a very trustworthy guy for pitching, then I think that this team, it's going to stabilize the pitching out, which is going to obviously help with everything else because, again, this is just a big ol' snowball effect when it comes to pitching and being able to stabilize the pitching position and being able to stabilize the rotation and making sure that everything is all good. The Royals tomorrow have Michael Wacha pitching. 2.25 ERA, gave up 4 hits, had a strikeout, gave up 4 walks as well, so that's a big one. So we'll see if the Orioles could work some walks tomorrow against someone who struggled with that in the first game. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. Tomoyuki Sagano versus Michael Wacha. I expect the Orioles lineup to be pretty much the same. Now with Gunnar back, the lineup is probably going to be a lot more consistent. The only things I can really see changing are probably like maybe the 7, 8, 9, maybe the order a little bit. But Gunnar to Adley to Jordan, to Cedric is probably going to be the 4, the 1 through 4 that we're going to work with probably for a while until one of them, either declines or whatever. But Cedric's been having a good start to the year. Things have been working well for Cedric. Jordan obviously has been great. Gunnar just came back. Adley's been fine. But let's take a look here at the AL East standings real quick. We're going to be looking at these after every single game. But the Yankees did win today, and they took back the lead, or they took the lead in the AL East 7 games into the year, 7 to 8 games in the year. The Yankees are sitting at 5-2. They are first place. The Blue Jays lost today. They are now 5-3. They're second place. Tampa's 4-3. They're third place. Boston is 4-4. They are fourth place. And the Baltimore Orioles are sitting at 3-5. And they are currently last place in the division. Again, only 2.5 games back, but again, it is super, super early into the year, so things are going to change. I'm not going to sit here and say that the Orioles season is over, and this isn't obviously a good time to panic, because again, it is so early, and I'm not going to sit here and say that everything's over and the season's crashing and burning and crashing down and everything's over and we're horrible, we need to fire everybody. I'm not going to sit here and say that because it is early, but this isn't necessarily the greatest start that you want to have. Also, with the rest of the division playing good baseball and winning games, the Orioles find themselves at the bottom of the division a week into the season. So, tomorrow, again, we play the Kansas City Royals. What time is the game tomorrow? The game tomorrow is at 3:10, so a little afternoon game for the Orioles tomorrow. Hopefully they can go out there, get a win, and just get back to their winning ways, because they've lost 3 in a row, and you really, really don't want to see yourself fall into a hole early in the year. Obviously, you would love to have that nice cushion to start the year, so then you don't have to go crawling your way back later on in the year. So hopefully the Orioles don't lose tomorrow. Hopefully they can get back on their winning ways, because if you go out there and you lose 4 in a row, if they do lose tomorrow against Kansas City, that means that they would also not only lose the game and lose 4 in a row, but that means that they would also lose the series against Kansas City, which means that they are still winless on a series this year. And who do the Orioles play after this Kansas City series? So it goes Kansas City to Arizona, back to Toronto. So, the Orioles got to find a way to... Now, the only way that they can win this series is by taking the next 2 games against Kansas City, which they have Sagano pitching tomorrow, and they got Cade Povich pitching on Sunday. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how everything goes with that. Again, the Orioles, still early, but a little bit of panic just because the offense does look very similar to last year in the second half. And I say that because they've just been super inconsistent and not able to put up runs, and they're underperforming. And the starting pitching and even a little bit of the bullpen has not been amazing as well. They just haven't been able to find a way to win games. Things are going to be okay. The O's are going to be fine, but they just gotta get going a little bit. And that's going to do it for today's episode of Birds of a Feather. It was a pretty disappointing game for the Orioles today, but again, we're covering the Orioles, we're covering the Ravens every single day. All the news that comes out between both teams we're going to be going over. And I appreciate you guys for listening. I appreciate you guys for watching if you're on YouTube. Appreciate you guys for listening if you're on Spotify. I'm having a ton of fun doing this show. It's been very, very, very cool. And again, this is episode 8. This is just the beginning of this whole show. We've still got a bunch of baseball to go over. We still got a bunch of football stuff to go over. Obviously, draft season is here in football, which we will be obviously covering a lot of that every Monday and also on draft night as well. But my name is Nathan Stroud. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like the content, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify. I appreciate you guys for the support. And I'll see you guys tomorrow after the Royals game. Peace out.